Hey friends, today I want to talk about one of my favorite authors of all time, Gillian Flynn. So Gillian Flynn is obviously a famous author because of her work in the thriller book industry. She writes some of the best thrillers. I always recommend them. So today I want to kind of go through my bookshelf of hers that I have, and we'll talk about the thrillers. We'll talk about maybe the movie adaptations of those books. So first is Gone Girl. Gone Girl, there was obviously a lot of hype about it when it came out. Ben Affleck was in the movie. I actually watched this movie before I read the book, but I had already read some of her other books. So by the time I watched the movie, I was already sold. And then I read the book and it's fantastic, I think. So this book is about a married couple and the wife suddenly goes missing. And a lot of the story is told from like her journal entries before she went missing, and then obviously the husband's perspective, and he soon actually becomes a suspect in the case. And so it's super messy. It's a great thriller. I would definitely recommend it, and then I would also recommend the movie as well because I thought it was great. Okay, so next, not quite as popular, but I would still definitely recommend it, The Grown Up. It's a short story by Gillian Flynn. I actually listened to this and I enjoyed listening to it. It's about a psychic who is recruited by a family to kind of try to figure out like what is going on in their house. They think their house is haunted. And so I won't share too much because it is short, but it's a really good thriller, a lot of twists and turns, and you won't put it down because you're like, these people are crazy, what's going on? So definitely recommend this one. Next is Dark Places. Dark Places is also a movie. I actually read the book and then I watched the movie, and I prefer the book over the movie. The movie isn't bad. It's just, I really love the detail of the book. And then there's a lot of like internal dialogue that goes on within the book that wasn't as prevalent. Obviously in a movie, you have to adapt that. And so that's why I really prefer the book on this one. This is about a family who lives in a really rural area, and one night some of the family members are murdered. And the one surviving sister, she actually grows up and her brother is in jail for the murders. And so, later in life, she grows up and she's like, did he really do it? She has a lot of questions because she was the only one that was there that night and that can remember maybe a little bit of what happened. And so this is a great thriller. This one, you will not guess the ending until the last page maybe. So it's very, very good. Definitely recommend. Okay, next, last but not least, this is my favorite of Gillian Flynn, Sharp Objects. This book, I just feel like this book is a must. I love this book. I love the characters in this book. I love everything about it, the twists and the turns. I did not know the ending until the last page. I have reread it since, and then, after knowing the ending, it's just not as fun, but I still love it. I still would definitely recommend it. So this book is about a reporter who is from a very small southern town, and she gets out of the town, moves to Chicago, becomes a journalist, and come to find out there's a murderer that starts murdering in her hometown. And so her journalists, people are like, hey, you're from there, like you should go and kind of investigate and see what is happening. And so, of course, as she goes back to her hometown, she has to deal with all these things that, she's either ignored or forgotten about. The twists and the turns of this book are just so good. So this is my favorite, but I would definitely recommend the other ones. Also, hot take on this one, I love this book. I did not like the HBO adapted series. Ugh, I'm sorry, I just did not like it. In my mind, I was like, if I hadn't read this book and I just watched this show, I would have no idea what's going on. They did not, in my opinion, they did not do a really good job of like carrying the story through. That's how I just felt about it. Where this, everything is happening. Like, exactly what's going on. Like, you're just going through the story. And then in the HBO series, I was just so disappointed on the execution of that. So this is my favorite for sure. I would definitely say put them on your TBR.